What's up, everyone? Welcome to episode number 32 of Damn That's Good with Big Salinas BBQ. I am Randy Salinas, joined by my brother Junior Salinas. We got a good little fun episode coming on. So, without further ado, let's get this party started.
Hey, Junior here. We got a great episode coming up. Got some questions, maybe a new segment that we're going to start. But last week we kind of gave you our tips and tricks on some things as we got ready for a cook off, which we will go over here shortly. But first of all, if you're watching us on YouTube, of course, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Definitely share us out, and let's get going with our sponsors, which are.
Holy Smoke Spice Company, Brothers Keepers Barbecue, Prairie Fresh, Mad Cow Cutlery, and Meat Hugger. Be sure to check out their butcher paper on Amazon. And then we got our small business shout outs. My small business shout out is a company called Still There Shine Sauce. If you're looking for some good barbecue sauce with some unique flavors like a blackberry sauce, some different kind of rubs that got some North Carolina flair in there. Look up Still There Shine Sauce.com. Check them out on Facebook. It's a good little company. They make small batch barbecue sauces, rubs. Definitely give them a try. That's my small business shout out for this episode. Who you got?
I've got Infinite Pro Renovations. We've had some storms come through. Maybe you want to do some renovating to your house, your outside. Hit these guys up at Infinite Pro Renovations. Contact our family member, cousin Les Delgado. Hit him up. Tell him the Salinas brothers hit you up. You can reach them at 469-891-9890 or at lesdelgado.ipr@gmail.com. Of course, you can find them on Facebook at Infinite Pro Renovations. Definitely hit them guys up. They will help you with your renovation needs. So that's what we got, but let's dive right into it. For sure, we were at a cook-off in Weatherford. It went, I would say, fairly well. I think it was about what we would always like to do better. I think that's the one thing about us that we should be known. We're always wanting to do better. But Randy, what were your thoughts overall on the cook-off?
My overall thought was you cannot touch the tickets. You no more touch tickets. You got bad luck with those tickets.
Did we not win? We not place?
When I had
maybe
the
it's your
place,
maybe it's not my tickets. Maybe it's your cooking. Maybe that is the problem. And then messing up the bean recipe. We don't get into that.
Okay, Mister. First of all, he told me I'll be there at 6:30. Don't show up until like 10:30, 11:30. 4 hours late.
I was looking at movies the night before.
You were calling dinosaurs. Let's be real.
Not one calling them dinosaurs. I'm gonna call them dinosaurs.
But yeah, overall it was fun. We kind of were throwing up against 42 teams. To get one call there is really good. First time we went out there 2 years ago, we took the RV for the first time out. Finished fifth place Brisket. First time taking the new trailer out. Hit fifth place Brisket. Made final table and chicken was 16th. Testing out a new brine recipe for the first time. Just kind of changing it and see what happened, and to get 16th, make final table on that was pretty good. Definitely should have been higher, but hey, everybody else probably had some good chicken too as well. Ribs, we'll just say use your error. I blame myself on that one. Definitely needed some tenderness, but they were good for sure. The flavor was on there, just needed another 10-15 minutes in the wrap to get it to the tenderness. But hey, sometimes it happens. It felt right, but sometimes you have to second guess yourself sometimes. But coming out, was a $25 gas car right off the bat. I think I come out almost even. I think if I lost anything, it was like $15. Um, to me, if it had been nice, they had the first place, $1,400 off of one meat. Definitely
Ain't
could have been
lying.
something there.
There was some prizes, there was some money given away. They were just
Yep.
handing it away if you could get it. But you're right. There was what you said. How many teams were there?
42 total.
And you talk about a lot of people were expecting calls when we sit down. That's the one thing I think when we go to call, I at least look for is what is everybody else looking for? You got some saying, "Oh, we hit. This is the best we done," or whatever, and they didn't get a call at all. I think the people behind us got in chicken, so we were happy for them. They were happy for us. We didn't know them or anything like that. So it definitely is was an experience for sure. And for the record, you never let me hold it for whatever reason. You handed them to me, so that's
I like
your
to hear
fault.
hold it. No, let's
What was it? But let's
first of
go
all, I
ahead.
had to pick up something. I'm going to hear hold this. He took over the tickets. Let's be real. He took over the
Took those
tickets.
tickets, so therefore that's why
Never
you
had
won.
it.
If I would have touched it, you would have won. You could have went with the bean recipe. Let's go with it. The bean. That's usually something we're in there. Usually we do add our ingredients more fresh. We decided for whatever reason we wanted to cut a corner, and although they were tasty, they weren't what we normally turned in because usually that's the one. We're usually very consistent on getting a walk for that. So had we have done more normal stuff on that, you probably could have came out ahead from there. But chicken definitely in it. You don't have to share your recipe, but what did you use on it?
So you don't want me to share the recipe, but you want to know what I
What
used
are
in it.
some of your main ingredients?
Uh, I used the peat sauce as a glaze. Um, and I'm pretty much open with the chicken recipe. The pork and rub goes into the brine. I won't tell you nothing else on it. But the recipe for the chicken itself with the seasonings, it's pretty much been my go-to is some holy smoked foul play with some picosa rub, lightly dusted on it, and then you got to come back with some amp chicken on it. Ever since I started using that combination, it's been hitting. At least getting a final table call. So changing the recipe to try to get more moisture, more flavor out of it definitely helped. Um, I think maybe a little more of adjustment to try to maybe a little bit longer in the brine maybe would help. But just little tweaks here and there just to kind of enhance the flavor of the chicken. Just say that.
The chicken was good. You know me, superstitious as I was, I didn't want to say anything. But it was very good. Probably one of the best that I've had on there. Um, we did get a final table. How we didn't get a walk is, I don't know. But I think a lot of it is what I was explaining to Derek and them and Chelsea was, we might have been at the table with the guys that won first and second on that final table. So we didn't get us in the top 10 that way, but definitely was good. Your ribs, what about those? You could have done better. That's all I'm going to say. Those weren't your best. They weren't your worst, but they were pretty tasty. Still had a good bite through for my taste. But what was your main spice on that?
Next question.
You're not.
You got to look at the face. You got to look at my Instagram.
You're not going to get fined. You're not here because you're going to get.
I'm here so I don't get fined.
Okay. He used basically poop on it since he didn't want to tell you. So we'll just say no. Like I said, what is his best, but that can be temperature related. The temperature was hit or miss. It was cold in the morning and then it got hot. Super hot out there. Not hot, but so that definitely is going to mess with your temperature and stuff out there. Then your brisket was fifth place. It was on point, man. It was great tenderness, great thing. What was your rub of choice that you would like to share with the folks?
Again, y'all just gotta check out the Instagram. The stuff that I
Well,
use,
I
it's on
tried.
there. You just
I
gotta
tried. He
look
does
on
share a
there,
lot of it
man.
on Instagram.
Y'all see it. You know, the
Her-
hot pork rub is on. Definitely one of the base layers on ribs with some spicy sauce. Again, some holy smoke and some amp combination in there. Um, you know, uh, Definitely with the brisket, it's got some noble rub in there. It's got some hot pork rub as a layer. And then I hit it with some holy garlic on top. And then there's some added layers in there that I can't disclose because it's a secret. But again, one of the base layers is in there is amp, and definitely some holy smoked in there as well. Those are the three rubs, three combination companies that I use. So definitely get you some amp, some holy smoke, mix it in with some big Salinas barbecue rub sauces. Find some flavors that you like. Again, check out the Instagram, Facebook. Usually, I'm open to tell you exactly what I use on the briskets, which basically holy garlic and noble rub on backyard catering. That's the go-to. Definitely, any brisket is always going to have some noble rub for sure. Hot pork rub
where
when it
did you
comes to
get it?
competition. Huh?
And where did you get your brisket?
Purchase Meat Market in Plano.
It was well, like you said, it was well worth it. You definitely got some flack for buying it because of the price it is, but that's brisket. I mean, I was at Kroger, and it was running up there for just a plain brisket, like 80, $90. And it just, um, nobody's running any kind of deals or specials. If you are, please share those things because they're running high to even just do one for um, a cook, just like to make for people to try. It's running real high, but definitely was worth it from my point to take for it. I mean, you got your money, most of that. Well, you got your money back on the brisket, almost got it back for the whole trip. Plus a little gas money. I don't know how far $25 will get you, but maybe a quarter of a tank, a little over a quarter of a tank.
Give me to them block back for sure.
To McDonald's.
But I mean, like when we had arrived there Friday, um, the people that were next to us, um, Meat Shots Barbecue, actually went to high school with one of the team members there. Uh, so we sat there Friday and started talking. They brought us, Snake River Farm brisket. I think they paid $180. I mean, it's kind of basically the same thing. His thinking is, if everyone else is running a wagyu, you're gonna have to too. My thinking is, I'm gonna find the best marbling piece of meat that I can find. And if I'm gonna pay 140, $180, might as well just support a small business, regardless of it. I mean, I don't want anything out of it. We're just gonna, support who we gotta support everybody. Um, and definitely $140 hurt the pocket when I paid for it, but at the end of it, if you can get a good piece of meat, with some nice marbling that's gonna do you really, really good at a competition, got to. Because I mean, the marbling in the meat, like I was talking to Derek, that fat rendered down. You were able to taste the right amount of everything, from the injection to the fat, the rubs, the sauce on it, everything mixed so well. Perfect color, definitely probably one of the best briskets I've cooked, competition wise for sure.
For sure. I would definitely second that or third that or whatever. But it's a great competition, great thing. A lot of, I don't know, you didn't really get a chance to walk around as you were cooking and stuff as I delivered the meat and we drove around looking at some of the other pits. Or the lack thereof, a lot of the other barrel smokers. Um, there was a lot of barrel smokers as opposed to actual pits that are made. Do you think that's the growing trend? People are doing that just because it's easier to take with you, or what?
It's easier to handle. They're You can move them around. You can get more sleep, which means you can drink more beer on a Friday. Um, some people, you're cooking hot and fast. You might as well you're going to cook hot and fast, drum smoker is going to give you that flavor of charcoal with some added wood flavor in there. Um, like I was telling meat shots, I'm always going to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to start it. Certainly, if you're doing a CBA, I may get up earlier to start it a little bit earlier just to kind of give it some extra smoke. And ever since I've kind of done that, the brisket has continued to get better. And it's just kind of staying with that trend of staying with your timelines. So whatever timeline you want, if you want to cook brisket in 2 or 3 hours, hey, go for it. If you want to cook it all night, definitely go to it. But it's a lot easier, to load, unload, clean up. Less fuel because you're just using charcoal. Whether it's B&B, Royal Oak, Jealous Devil, whoever it is, that's a lot cheaper than buying, a quart of wood than using, 16, 18 pieces for a cook. And that's why you're kind of seeing a lot of people go differently. Now, granted, I know you probably saw a handful of pellet smokers there, pellet grills. That's like that everywhere.
I saw one that was really massive, and I mean, this thing was built like a tank. And we drove the second time, and I looked at it, and I told Dad, I said, "Hey, that's a pellet smoker." And he's like, "What do you mean?" I said, "That's why the generator's right there. Your standard ones don't need it. Pellet smokers need that electricity to run." As big as it was, shocked me. It definitely was something custom made or something like that. But it was very nice looking. But yeah, he definitely had a pellet smoker. There was one or two I think I saw, but more than that, I saw a lot of barrels smokers. I think we had the ones at Meat Shots, and then Damn Yankees Barbecue had one. They live out the Colony area. We had passed them on the way home, so they were still going past 35 as we turned to head a different direction. So definitely a lot of belts, a lot of there, not too many pits that I saw. I think I saw way more barrels than that. Maybe the growing trend. Like I said, we've taken a pit out there, and it's a hassle sometimes. It can be a hassle for sure.
Yep. And then this cook they had everything. They had, Friday night they had all aged mac and cheese, steak, breakfast, cook's choice, beans, all three meats. I mean, you had a lot to cook. Certainly, if you're going to do that, that's certainly going to require a lot more people there to cook for sure. If you're going to do everything, and there wasn't a lot of turnout for everything else besides the meat. I mean, the meat and the beans were the biggest ones. Everything else had 10, 15 teams, I think, something like that.
That was good. I mean, like you said, to finish placing what we did, and probably at least I would say top 20. I don't know if you ever said it, but 5th overall brisket, which is your moneymaker, definitely here in Texas. To finish 5th again was good. We were already talking about next year's coming back, doing some of the other stuff because they have breakfast, dessert, cook's choice. I mean, it's pretty amazing all the stuff they had. So hopefully they keep growing. It felt busier the last time than it did this time, but I think it was because it wasn't raining like last time we went, and so people could spread out a little bit as opposed to people had to be.
Well, more people were on the concrete this year than they were previous years on the grass because everybody else. And then, if you got there was a lot of people that were parked in the spots that wasn't designated for cooks. There was a lot of RVs that weren't supposed to be where they were, but they weren't going to mess with them because Friday night was windy real bad. And we always set up closer to the road because it's easier to get out and get in versus being way down there at the bottom. Yeah, it's easier to be down there closer to turn-ins. But I'm always looking at what's the fastest way for us to get out.
That's the pro tip, because if you've ever been with us, we don't. And I think it was the three people that were there. We were all like out the door. We were gone. Everybody else, especially if you're closer. Now in Terra, when there's so many teams, I think you want to be closer to it. So we definitely tried a different strategy as turning in. We turned in more early than late or middle. That's something we always playing with. But yeah, we're always looking for how's the quickest way we can get out of this joint. Um, for sure. So I think that was that played a good part in it, and we had great. We were out, we were gone, and we were headed back home before you know it. But another thing, the only other thing I didn't like there, I will say, other than it was a great cook-off, was the turn-in times. That 12 to 2 to 4, that's kind of a long wait for it. So
Yeah, they space it out because of the
judging.
the amount of amount of people there, the judging. Normally it's 12, 1:30, 3:30 type deal. I'm not sure why they did it 2 and 4, but it was a long wait for sure. Um, I'm used to, you know, give me 30 minutes less. Certain that's the fun about doing like a CBA is because you have your every hour you're busy. There's no really kind of downtime. You're turning in 11, 12, 1, 2. You're doing everything. If they're doing beans, you're going to do that as well. Um, the only difference is you got to learn how to cook pork versus just brisket, ribs, and chicken. But it's a lot easier to, you know, take something off, let it rest, a lot quicker, a lot less, I should say. And it's definitely your business for sure with the CPA versus a Lone Star event.
Absolutely, yeah. It was definitely there. I mean, we had, you look at some of the people that we had, like if the one you graduated with, he unfortunately didn't get a call, made a final table, and then that was it. The other one, then further down, that they were knew each other, he got a couple calls up there, made, I think he made $1,600, and then you got a fifth and a second or something like that. And then you had the people across that walked around. They looked the part. They had their aprons on, the matching nice shirts, and they got nothing. So it's just unfortunately sometimes it's just how you get in, what table you get at. The judging's blind, but I know one thing: your youngest niece, had a great time at that cook-off, walking around, getting to play. She loved your pet for sure, and she loved your trailer, so it was a big hit for her. She's probably already looking forward to the next one. So,
Yeah.
but when are we looking at it? When are we looking at the next one?
It'll be, I believe, the 22nd of April. Um, yeah, because right now I'm without a truck for the next couple months with due to hail damage and all that. So
Okay,
definitely will be
then.
taking a back seat for a little bit. Uh, but it'll be the 22nd of April, I believe. Um, there was one where I was thinking about doing Terrell, but one popped up. That's a CBA in Weatherford. That's a challenge as well. That's in Weatherford, so I'm thinking maybe go back to Weatherford to go out there. You know,
Sure. Just let me know
CBA
when.
to me is a way fun, or a lot funner. It was more of a challenge because you have to get some. You have to get out of your element. Okay, there's
They've
different
never
ways
come
you
down.
do it.
They've never come up here, right? CBA.
Yeah, they come down here last year. They were in Weatherford last year as well.
Oh,
I think it was in November. I'm not sure what we were doing. I know we weren't able to make it. But they did come down here last year. So this is basically like the second or third cook-off they've had in the DFW area. So certainly if you're interested in doing a CBA cook-off and can't make it down to Houston, or if you're not out in West Texas, definitely give them a look at on 22nd of April. They are going to have a town hall as well Friday night, I believe. So you'll be able to actually meet the region cooks, or the regional directors, I should say, and Kevin and Laura Caldwell of Holy Smoke. I'm pretty sure more of the people on the board will come up here because it is a state cook-off. So if you want a chance to, you know, get a call and go to the Jack, or make sure you definitely go to the American Royal, get that invitational. That's something to look into because if you get the state championship under your belt, you've already got entered into the draw to make the American Royal. You already got one. Definitely look into getting that second, third, maybe even the seventh one. How you never know. But it's a fun one. Said you're turning in 4 meats. Not a lot of rules. Basically, however you want the box to look like, you can do whatever you want with that box. We leave it up to you. So you're able to fill that box with those ribs if you have 10 good-looking ribs. Put all 10 good-looking ribs in there. So that's a good thing about it.
Now, I've never been to one where you've been at a CBA on it. So there's interesting. I think you even have walk-up music instead of calling a number. 64213, and everybody's looking at tickets and you just play music. So you pick your walk-up music, and it's actually really fun, even just to watch the judging on it, the result of the award show on that. So it's good on it. But we did okay. So I asked you this question. We know we have the Outlaw Association, and I'm sure you'll do one of those cook-offs here throughout the year. What are we doing? We did which one? What kind of cook-off? This was by what organization?
It was a Lone Star Barbecue Society, something, an LSBS cook-off. I just referred to it as a Lone Star.
That's because the other one went away.
Yeah, IBCA is still there. There's just not a lot of Region 1 cooks because all of Region 1 pretty much went to Outlaw. So I mean, you want to get into, do cooks up here in North Texas, definitely it's going to be, doing an Outlaw cook. People who run it are, very friendly. They're all willing to help you out. You're going in the same kind of thing. You're going basically, you got to win the table, move on. But they are doing it to where you're calling the top 15, 16, whatever the final table is, you're getting called. So you have a chance at it. Versus everything else, you just kind of, you don't know. You're just basically, if you made final table and like Lone Star, you don't see what your number is. But yeah, there is IBCA. There's not many of them out here currently. You have to go West Texas, South Texas, Houston area, Austin area to try to get one.
That was more because of the scoring, correct? Is what it was? Yeah. Because you could finish first in Brisket and basically be up for reserve or grand champion or reserve or be up there, and that's
there was a lot of scoring issues and a lot of drama that's been going on lately. So that's why they kind of split up.
Correct. And I agree with it. The tiebreaker, if you're tied with somebody and points, let's say you're both at 32 points or 28 points or whatever, and you beat him in Brisket, then that's the extra point. That's the tiebreaker category. But if they got 2 first place, 2 seconds and 2 thirds, and you got behind them, but you finished higher in Brisket, you should not. And you didn't get a call in like chicken, but you got one in ribs and Brisket. You shouldn't beat somebody that got calls in all 3, depending on, of course, where they're at, depending on where you got. But that's a lot of it, I think, is what it was. And they've had great success, so definitely hit those guys up. You can Facebook or whatever, and they're posting all the time about cook-offs and stuff like that. But let's take a quick break, and then we're going to be back. We're going to ask Randy some more hot and heavy questions as we go inside the pit next.
The phone is ringing.
Oh, a phone is ringing.
The phone will be right there.
Hello? They won't say who it is.
Hi there. My name is Delilah. I'm from Frisco, and I just wanted to pose a question to you guys. One that's kind of been plaguing me for a while, because I have a lot of issues with it, but I wanted to hear your opinions on, like your personal space with your sleeping blanket. Do you like to have your own sleeping blanket, or are you willing to share? do you get hot? Do you get cold? Like, what are the scenarios where you're willing to like share your blanket? So that's really what I wanted to pose as a question, and really looking forward to hearing you guys' advice, because I know I have my own issues. So thank you guys so much. Again, this is Delilah.
Love it. That is awesome. So that's a great question. Right off the bat, I think that's a great question. Do you, in y'all's sleeping situations, we're talking just one blanket, one big ass blanket? We're not separating these blankets. Am I the only one that does this?
No, you're not.
Oh yeah.
But I will tell you this: I've been in a relationship where we did not share blankets, and that's not a relationship that exists anymore.
That's true.
Yeah.
I get that. And it's not all the time. Sometimes though, I do. It's okay. Like, oh, man. Okay. I think that it's important to talk about the type of blankets, right? So I get so hot at night, man. Like, I cannot deal with like too thick of a I need breathability. I need some material that doesn't produce too much heat. You know what I mean? I understand, like, in the wintertime, you want something a little bit more, substantial.
I'm gonna let you keep talking.
I just don't think it's that big a deal.
But that shit's not funny to Delilah.
That's true.
She called to ask the question. Here's the deal.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't like a heavy sheet, it's a bed, and you're an adult. You're not in college. You're not at a sleepover. You have sheets. You have, okay?
Yes,
so right. Okay, you have a sheet, and then you have like a duvet or something like that over the sheet.
Roll it off. You just roll it off.
You're grown up now, so what you do is you get a high quality thread count. Okay.
Okay.
I have curly hair, so I also have satin pillowcases.
Oh, because it doesn't pull on it, or what?
It doesn't cause it doesn't get all freed up.
I like it.
Yeah. That's but you get a high quality thread count sheet.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you have you have your sheet over the mattress, because you're not a freaking animal.
Right, of course, obviously.
And then you have the sheet that covers both of you.
Okay.
In a co-sleeping situation.
Yes.
And then you have a duvet.
Welcome back. We're having a great episode right now. We may dive back into the cook-off because, like I said, we had a blast out there. Usually I'm out there Friday. I didn't make it out Friday when hang out in Fort Worth. Did a little too much partying, maybe. Didn't get there as early as I would have liked, but still had fun once we got out there. But a new segment I was going, and I've been asking some questions. I didn't hit all the groups that we're in, so I apologize. I'm not going to list the group that I did because I don't want to leave one out. But there's something I was thinking about doing here as we dive inside the pit, whether get people's reactions after basic questions that we ask, and we'll get Randy's reaction here. As I asked the question because of a TikTok I've been seeing, a guy that's been coming up on my TikToks is binder on your ribs, yes or no? I've seen a lot of people, 3 people have said they use olive oil, not just plain olive oil, not the extra virgin olive oil, just olive oil as their binder, saying they get a really nice color and flavor. One said he uses mustard on beef and mayo on pork. I don't know about that. I know they offer you it usually offers you no flavor. But what do you use? What is the question for you, Randy? Binder or no binder on ribs?
Yeah, so Derek actually asked me this on Saturday. I don't use a binder on anything. I mean, if you want to use a binder, you definitely use a binder. I don't think it hurts it not using a binder. Like I told Derek, what I do is I just season it and pat it in. I mean, what you can do is you can give it like 15 minutes or 30 minutes or so, like on ribs or brisket. Let that meat soak up some of the rub, let that moisture come out, um, that's going to be basically your binder in itself. Is the actual natural moisture of the meat to draw in the rub, and then you can flip it and do the same thing on it. Um, a lot of the time, a lot of the meats like ribs, brisket, you don't need anything. Definitely, if you got like something uh, with a lot of fat, maybe like a ham, I might kind of use a binder. Maybe like some oil, like maybe olive oil, uh, maybe a little bit of mustard. But if I'm using something, it's going to be very, very light if I ever do use anything. I've seen people use mustard. I've seen people use mayo. Um, you know, as long as it comes out good, it don't matter what I tell you to do it, or whatever the person on TikTok wants to tell you. His hashtag is make barbecue simple. There's no right way. There's no wrong way to do it. Do you, as long as the food comes out good, that's the only thing that matters.
Yes, sir. Could not agree more. Yeah. He doesn't use a binder. He doesn't believe in it because it doesn't really draw it doesn't really bring your flavor. People use mustard. People use mayonnaise, mayo, whatever, and it doesn't. All it is help your seasoning stick to it. He doesn't use it on it. For sure, and I know you don't really use it. You've never really used it. I mean, you may use it a little, but it's always a light coating. You can't go too much, but definitely do what you like. Don't let us influence you one way or the other. But if you haven't used a binder, try it. Try it twice. Of course, our mama, try it twice. If you've used a binder, try it twice without it, because you might mess up the first time, might get it right second time, and you'll know, hey, this is what I like this moving forward. So I don't think I agree with you. There's no right or wrong. Cook barbecue how you like it for your family, and you'll be happy. As long as they're eating it, if nobody's touching your ribs, you're doing something wrong. But if they're eating it and they're chowing it down, by all means, go right on ahead. What's
that saying? If you get invited to a cookout and you get told to bring ice, you're not a good cook.
That's it. You bring ice. Okay, I'm good. Some people like their ribs, fall off the bone. Some don't. I don't necessarily like it falling off the bone because I don't want to bite into it, and then I'm stuck with it. I've seen TikToks where people will, look, I cooked these ribs perfect, and the bone falls out. I believe you overcooked it, but that's just me, my personal taste. Yours might be different, and that's the beauty of barbecue. As long as they're good, they taste good. Hey, I'm still going to eat it either way. Let's just be real on it. So, but that's a good thing for that is ribs. And then I think he asked you which style of ribs you use. Which is your favorite? St. Louis style, like the cut of ribs.
Probably St. Louis style. I know he asked how to trim off. I don't know what it's called. I know someone will listen. Oh, this is what it's called. But so if you're looking at a full spare rib of it, there's that one bone that's always kind of in one corner that's real hard to get out. And he was asking me how to cut it out. And I told him you had to go at an angle. So as it curves, you kind of have to kind of cut it out at an angle to where it comes out easy. And I told him at the very first, before you actually figure it out and you get used to it, you'll have to take a real sharp knife, like chef's knife. If you have one of those chopping knives, take it out and just hammer it, and it'll come right out. Because all it basically is bone and cartilage there. And that's how you kind of shape it. But me, I prefer the St. Louis style cut, because you get away from having those rib tips. I look at those rib tips as a good snack in between. Those are, I know Dad loves to eat those a lot, but for me, it's definitely a St. Louis cut rib for sure.
For sure, and you were bringing up the guy from TikTok. I watched one was it last night or something? And he's like, his daughter wanted to try ribs, and he's like, I put it on there 2 hours, and I don't care the temperature. That's a lie, because you don't want that thing to get up to the 400 degrees, 500 degrees, 600 degrees, because then they're gonna cook faster than you want. What is more about your range for your ideal temperature on ribs?
I'm always shooting for like 250, 275. Like in the drum competition wise, when I put it on, it's 275, but the temperature where the probe, where the temperature gauge is, it's in the stack on the short rib drum smoker. And what I've had to tell someone is don't mess with it. I've had to learn the hard way. If you set it at a certain degree, it's at that certain degree at that rate. It's not getting a lot of smoke coming out because of where you're having the meat, the ribs, all across the actual grate itself. So sometimes, like, I know if you kind of look at it, like if you look at it Saturday, it may have said like 200 degrees, 175, something like that. And if you're just walking by, you're like, oh, he's not even cooking these ribs. What is he doing? But if you open it, you're going to feel that. Because it's cooking at where it's supposed to. So that's where I'm always shooting 250, 275, somewhere in that range. I know he's always posted some good videos, and they're always, Weber kettle, the snake method, or the slow and shear method. And he's got it. If you got it down, you know where it's at. As soon as you set it, you don't even have to look at the temperature. You know it's there.
I think
the
that's
good thing
the
about
key.
BB. Yep.
You're correct. I think that's the key that he leaves out. It's like, I don't care what temperature, because he has that step at the temperature he wants it. And he knows, because of the method he uses. He uses that snake method, and I've seen videos where and I've talked to people. Ed did one. He bought him like a Weber kettle style grill, and he said he did the snake method, and it stayed pretty much at that temperature because it burns around with it. And he used just wood chunks in there as well. So, and I think that's the key. If you're confident in your pit, like we've seen, the barbecue broker and Johnny Mags and all these, that they use ones that backline smokers that they know they get it at 250, 2 something, and and it's closed, they can leave it alone. It's going to stay right there. Maybe go every so often and check on it from there. But that's about all he does. And I mean, the ribs turned out good. Like I said, your ribs turned out good. You've done better, but that's okay. I mean, we all can't be perfect every time we go out. We all can't be me, but it's okay.
Whatever. He hasn't cooked anything in how many years? When was the last time he cooked?
I've been cooking for 42 years, dude. I'm only 41. I was cooking in the womb. I haven't cooked ribs like that, and I don't know how long. I'm gonna be honest with you. That's why I ask the questions and leave it up to him. But that's gonna change. Don't worry, it's coming. And I'm
definitely the biggest thing about the biggest thing about when you're cooking, whether it's ribs, chicken, brisket, whatever, is you have to know your pit, whatever you're using. And if you're using an offset, you got to be able to. You're monitoring a lot closer than you are a drum or Weber kettle, or even pellets grill, because you're having that luxury of knowing the temperature is going to be pretty consistent throughout the cook. You're going to be in that range versus being an offset. You're going to have to add fuel, every 30, 45 minutes, maybe an hour, depending on how big or small it is, what the weather is, and all that kind of stuff plays a factor into it. Where drum, you set it, forget it. Same thing with the pellet grill. Same thing with the Weber kettle. You get it to the temperature you want, and that's it. And that's a lot of where the key is, and a lot of where people make the mistake is you just think, okay, well, you set it on there and forget about it, and you go back and you realize it's taking a lot longer, it cooked a lot faster. You have to know first.
Correct. Know your grill, know what you're working with, and of course have confidence in what you're doing, and of course with love and passion. But Do you think those are like? I know we've tried to get Chelsea's granddad Larry out there, and Derek out there cooking, actually competing in a competition. They love to cook it at home. He's wanting to do it, but he's wanting to do it with him. Do you think because he's on the Traeger that scares him because he'll walk around and doesn't see but maybe one pellet smoker or something like that? Do you think there's a fear that they have going out there?
Yep. Yeah, sometimes, if you're getting into it, it's kind of, until you get up, you dive into it and just say, let's just do it. And I think his biggest thing is having, not seeing a lot of pellet smokers out there, and then knowing Derek loves to drink and party, as he knows if I do a cook-off, I can't drink as much. Because he kind of sees me, and he sees I'm hardly ever standing still. I'm always kind of doing something, always kind of making sure whether it's the chicken's going right, ribs are going right, brisket's where it needs to be. And he's kind of intimidated on hitting the timelines, which isn't really, it's not hard. You just have to kind of know where your final goal is, and you just got to kind of keep getting, keep checking and keep getting to that point. Like, if you watch people on TikTok, they say, if you're looking, you ain't cooking. Well, in competition, sometimes you have to look, you have to see where it's at. Because if you're not looking, 15 minutes go by, you have a beer or two, you turn around, you smell something, your ribs could be done, your brisket's overcooked, and they're basically SOL. So there's a completely different opposite on it. Competition, you're always having to check, making sure you're on point, that that timeline is falling into place, and when something happens, adjusting to it to get back on track. And sometimes it's just turning in something and hoping for the best. And I've heard, we've heard stories, people, stuff falling on the grill, falling on the floor, and getting calls. We've turned in a brisket last year at Carroll, and the brisket fell apart on me. I wasn't happy with it, and what happened? You got a 10-place call. Sometimes you just got to turn something in. You never know.
I think that's the myth to me. I think that's a myth that needs to be busted. If you're looking, you're not cooking. Because how are you gonna know you're at where you're at? I mean, unless you're on a Traeger, yeah, I know it's at 225 and it's gonna be there for 4 hours. I'll go to sleep. I'll be back in 4 hours. And I think that's part of the, that's the old mentality. Like when Dad was out there, he'd start early in the morning cooking a brisket, and he would go back to sleep for a couple hours, and then he'd come back up, and he knew what it was at, but he knew his pit. But you have to, especially in a competition, you have to look, because the wind might have picked up, something might have picked up, and now you're sitting instead of at 225, you're at 275, maybe even higher, or you're lower. We had that one in Ennis where we were lower. And if we would have just not looked, we would have had nothing to churn in because the pit would have went completely out. So like I said, find your own groove, like you said, for sure. Yeah. You definitely have to look, cook your style, cook your way, and we'll see what goes from there. But let's take another little quick break. We'll be back for our final segment. And boy, this NFL. Well, we talk around the pit next.
That's all the question you had?
Started it. So, hey, my TikTok of the week is already on the Good Vibes page.
Oh, I love that.
Because I sent it to Chris and he posted it.
Oh, yeah, I did.
Shit, I got to get my TikTok of the week. Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so tell everybody about what your TikTok of the week was.
The DJ.
He's a DJ, and he mixes a really badass. It's Rage and Biggie over Rage backing, and it's pretty dope. I love it.
It's very cool.
Relax and take notes while I take totes of the marijuana smoke. Throw you in a choke.
So the one I did put is about a guy who takes his McDonald's to like a deli and asks the guy.
Also inappropriate.
Dude, that's Aki, bro.
Aki, yeah.
He's fucking famous, homie.
Now we wrap it up. And the result is OMG.
Can't forget the best.
Never, never, never. Now we serve it to the customer. Here you go, boss.
Oh man, that's
Give me a chopped cheese.
Chopped cheese.
It's a bodega staple. It is a breakfast sandwich that has chopped like meat on it, like brisket style, like
speaking
steak.
of that, you sent me that really good TikTok with the Anthony Bourdain quote.
Yes, about
You
bodegas.
should play that on this too.
Absolutely.
To Troy's.
For sure.
The great Anthony Bourdain once said, "The language of New York City in the mornings is Spanish, or more accurately, Spanglish, and even the non-Spanish speakers lined up at the bodega counter usually make an attempt. It's the last bastion of non-Starbucks breakfast, and maybe the last place in New York where construction workers, doormen, hedge funders, black, white, Asian, and Latin gather in one room, united by a singular purpose, the bodega sandwich."
And on top of that, I was driving by and I saw the
Rocha.
Yeah, he said he wanted to do one, so we have it. We just need to figure out how to do it live and do it. But yeah, I can definitely come up with some questions. But let's get to it. I can't come up with no questions. Please, man, I'm the best. Hey! I'm just telling Randy here on break that I'm the best ever. Wait till I get this stuff going. I'm gonna show you how to cook.
Man, you're the Kirk Cousins of podcast. Overpaid. Oh wait, you're not even paid. My bad.
I'm not even paid. I don't.
Okay. Let me refresh. You're the Baker Mayfield of podcast.
That's about
Nobody
right.
wants you. Nobody wants.
No. You're probably right. You're probably right, but
Yeah, NFL been crazy.
You're the Dak Prescott of cooking. Just overpaid in general. Should have never got paid. Never got drafted.
We've had a lot of trades go down.
Yeah.
Tom Brady decided he wanted to come back because the gas prices were too high. We thought he was crazy, but now looking at it, I think he was honest. I think he knew what was about to go down. And the funny thing is, I'm gonna pose this question. I know Chris is gonna be listening. As he gonna get everything ready for y'all when it airs. Is Dak Prescott now top 4 quarterback in the NFC?
First of all, he was number 2. No. The Good Day for Football said he was number 2 when Aaron Rodgers. It was just Aaron Rodgers and him because Russell Wilson had gotten traded. I think Russell Wilson, yes, he had a Super Bowl ring, maybe a little bit overrated, personally. But he said he was number 2. Tom Brady back, so obviously you got to put the GOAT back
number
at
3.
number 1. Rodgers, so he should be number 3 in their eyes. Who do you have ahead of him if you're giving him top 4?
I just said top 4. I couldn't even think, but that don't say much. I mean, we're talking about top 4 quarterback. That don't mean nothing.
Quarterbacks in the AFC. I thought about it one day and I was like, they might be right because all the quarterbacks are in the AFC. Is he top 10? Probably. He may sneak at a 9. I don't know, but I mean, Marcus Mariota's gotten more love lately than he has, and he hadn't been a starting quarterback in forever. Matt Ryan's gone, so you can't even say him. Carson Wentz, no, he's better than Carson Wentz. Or is he? I don't know.
He's number 4 at least.
Well, who do you have?
Yep. Tom Brady.
Okay.
Aaron Rodgers.
Okay.
And the Super Bowl winner of this year, Mr. Stafford himself. You got to put the Super Bowl winners ahead. If you're gonna rank them, they have a Super Bowl. You got to put them ahead.
Oh no!
And he's shown the consistency, to hit those numbers. And then I think he is number 4 now. Will they finish top 4 in the postseason? We don't know. Cowboys, though, we're still wondering what the Cowboys are doing. I think they're talking about Seahawks are basically starting from scratch. You had a 37, 38-year-old Matt Ryan get traded. Tyreek Hill decided they wanted to trade him this week.
Yeah. He got traded to Miami. Miami might have a little squad going on, but
it's gonna be a Packers versus Tampa Bay NFC Championship game versus you can flip a coin and good luck on picking those two teams in the AFC because that's a hard dog fight right there.
Do you think without Cooper, Dak takes a step back?
Yep.
I think a lot of people forget that Dak took a huge step back from season 1 to season 2 until they got Cooper. He's never really thrown the deep ball. It's been a guy miss, and he's off for the races from there. Romo used to have a good arm deep, but he needed, everybody needs somebody. So the fact that, we got to stack a team on there. Well, I think we were saying it the other day with those guys at the Good Day for Football was, okay, you're going to trade Amari for cents on the dollar. Cool. Let's get Wagner. Now the thing's going out is, well, we may not get him.
Yep.
So I have no confidence in this front office. They're loading up for 2023. And I don't think they're not moving much. They wanted to re-sign Wilson. He gone. They wanted to re-sign. Collins is gone. Williams is gone. So Terrence Steele is going to be our left tackle, which he's showing at the end of the year he couldn't do it.
Yeah, Gregory
he couldn't do it. And yet Stephen Jones thinks it is. I have no confidence in this front office at all. I know Stephen Jones is calling the shots. I wish Jerry was, because Jerry would have pulled the trigger on some of these things.
Now, what's your opinion? Before I give you my opinion, what's your opinion on the whole Randy Gregory telling Dallas Cowboy fans we're entitled and we didn't deserve love and all that kind of stuff?
Here's my thing. A certain guy got released too in Buffalo. Cole Beasley said the same thing. Talked bad about Dallas when he left. That seems to be the common trend. First of all, Randy Gregory, we should be entitled. You do owe us something because we drafted your butt. You haven't played a full season. You've been suspended more times than anything. Now you're going, you didn't like that deal in your contract. They said it's always been in his contract. So that's FUBAR. So now he's going to a state where weed is legal. But here's the thing to the listeners, you still against the rules within the NFL. Alcohol is legal everywhere you go, but you can't drink on the job. You can't smoke while you're on the job. It's still going to be the same. It's only a matter of time before he gets busted again. He'll be gone a year, but because he's got his guaranteed money no matter what, Denver's going to have to pay the price. Me personally, did I want to see him back? Yes. Am I glad he left in a weird kind of way? Absolutely. Did he help us a lot this year? No question about it. Absolutely. But the headache of him not being on the field, is he going to be there on Sunday? Is he going to get suspended? Is now gone.
But see, and John Sharif brought up a good thing on, the fan is when you look at the numbers, age-wise, he's the same age as DeMarcus Lawrence, right? Age-wise. Number-wise, what are you losing in a guy who's got 16 career sacks? You're not losing nothing. I think at the end of the day, one or two things is going to happen. Either Stephen Jones is going to look like a fool at the end of the contract, or we could be looking like a year or two later, and we could be thinking the same thing as, maybe Stephen Jones knew something. Because Randy Gregory hadn't shown that he's going to be on the field a whole 16 games. He hadn't shown that he's consistent and doing what needs to be done to help the team out. I know they're more lenient with the, drug policy now, like I told Dad, but you know what? If you're going to pay me the same amount of money, one's going to give me more money, and I love to smoke, I'm going to go somewhere where I can smoke and I can get it and be open about it.
Okay, so he said toxic fan base and entitled, and he don't owe us anything. Do they owe us anything? Any player in the NFL? No. They don't owe us anything. Let's be real. But you owe the ownership who stuck with you.
Yep.
He got drafted. He's 2015, he played 12 games. He played the next year, 2016, he played 2. 2018, he played 14 games. In 2020, he played 10 games. And in 2021, last year, he played 12. 64
injuries
tackles,
injuries or suspensions.
Most of it's been suspension.
Well, yeah, for the most part, yeah, it's been suspension. But then I think lately it's been injuries.
I think this category, I'm trying to read it. Here's the funny thing though. We look at what he got paid. The category I'm looking at is games started. 2015 didn't start a game. 16 didn't start 1. 2018 he started 1. 2020 he started 0. 2021 he started 11. Now, granted, last year was his best year. He had an interception. He had 6 sacks. He had 3.5 the year before. He had 6 the year before. So when he plays, he gives you 12, 14 games. He's good, but he's telling you he can't give you a full season.
Yep.
He gonna mess up. He gonna get hurt. He gonna mess up somewhere. And it's the Sean Lee effect. Sean Lee was a great player when he was there, but the dude was always hurt. Unfortunately, at least he wasn't suspended. I will give him that. But the dude was always hurt. Do we lose a lot? Like I said, are we losing something? I'd rather, after hearing the Sean Sharif, after hearing Brian Broaden about Tank and the Randy Gregory, I'm glad we signed who we signed back. Because Tank Lawrence does do a little bit more in the sacks than Randy Gregory. It's not on the stat sheet. Something that the stat sheet can't. That he held off a blocker so Micah Parsons or Van Der Esch or whoever could go and get the sack.
I think what you're going to see, and I think the reason why they were kind of more, Steven's more willing to let Randy Gregory go, is definitely with the contract. And that's what my thing was, is that his agent saying, "Oh well, that's supposedly in everybody's contract." Did Stephen Jones say that's in everybody's contract, or did he tell you that was always going to be in Randy Gregory's contract? Because those are two different things. Because for sure, it's not going to be in that stuff. For sure, it's not going to be in Michael Parsons' stuff. It's not going to be in Zach Martin's contract. But for someone who's always suspended, I'll probably guarantee it's going to be in the contract, right? If we could, every fan base, every ownership's always going to say that. Two different things. But I think what you're going to hopefully see more as a Cowboy fan or a football fan is Michael Parsons coming off the line. And I would be open and willing to put him at defense end, because you saw when Lawrence got hurt, he did a lot more than Randy Gregory. And if they can find a good linebacker to play alongside of Van Der Esch, and you can move Parsons in and out on that line, you got a dangerous front seven that's way better than what it was last year. So, that's something to be looking at to see who's there at either defensive end in the draft or at linebacker that they're going to draft. More than likely, probably going to be a linebacker this year. Let's be real.
Yeah, they should. I think Micah. You never know what they could do draft-wise as well. You never know. They could still, Did we think some of these deals were going to happen? If you would have told me Tyreek Hill was going to get traded and Von Miller was going to get 6 years from Buffalo, I would have said you were on crack. Next time, puff pass. Make sure you pass.
Hey, what about a man who just got acquitted of 22 charges, getting traded, and getting $230 million guaranteed contract? That's what blew my mind.
And they gave him big time money. He hadn't played in a year or so. Apparently, what I'm reading here is the Cowboys in the forfeiture, if you're suspended of some of your guaranteed money, is a clause that they put in for everybody. And I think part of it is because they used to let them do whatever. We had guys get suspended and guys stealing cologne and underwear in Stonebriar Mall up there in Frisco. But if you don't do it, let's say in Dak's contract, somebody that walks the line, but you're going to do it in somebody who fell in the draft. to the second day because he got caught with weed at the combine. He came up dirty in his job interview. You go for a job interview, you're not getting the job if you don't pass the drug test.
Yep.
The NFL still says, okay, you can still get drafted and still be a millionaire. But he did not pass it. He did not pass the drug test at the combine. So he can go whatever. If he thinks the fan base is going to just love him and roll out the red carpet in Denver, go ahead. You're not going to win anything in Denver. I need to tell you that.
Yeah.
With that division, the Raiders,
with that
Chargers,
with that
Mahomes,
conference.
Chiefs, you got to go to your division. Then you got to go to the conference. You're not going to win. I ain't worried about it. We save some money in the long run with him. And people, I'm reading some stuff. I'm looking this up on ProFootballTalk.com, so you can catch it there. They're saying he wasn't really a game-changing defensive player anyway. I don't know if I'd buy that because there was a couple games he made some key sacks, fumbles that did turn the game in our favor. When we beat New England, things were not going our way. He makes a big sack, and it seemed to kind of change the game. But so can Micah Parsons, so can somebody else who we may draft. You never know. But we'll see. Baseball season's rolling around. They're getting going here soon. Any expectations for the Rangers that you have?
Yeah, the Texas Rangers are going to knock the Boston Red Sox out of the playoffs. Somewhere in the next 20 years, Let's do that. Somewhere in the next 20 years. So remember that, Mags. I said 20 years, not this year, 20 years.
Are the Yankees fans? No.
Our Yankees, they'll knock whoever they like out. No, I mean, we're not expecting much from the Rangers. I think for them to have a better year than last year, I think would be an upside. I'm willing to. I'd be interesting to see how the new additions of the guys that they got help and hurt us that they got rid of. Ian Kiner Falafalala, however you say his last name. That's what I call him. Like a big hero. La 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 la. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. It'll probably be the Red Sox or Yankees winning it again, or Astros more than likely. They're going to win the division for sure.
I'll know that. It's not the Astros. I'm good. I don't feel just because they're a Texas team we have to cheer for them at all. And that's the funny thing about it is we'll talk to other ones and they're like, oh, they're from Texas. You need to cheer for them. Okay. And I use this to Chelsea's grandmother. We call her Gran. Don't call her Grandma. I said, okay, you cheering for Texas teams. If Texas A&M was in the national championship, are you cheering for them? No, exactly. Cheer for who you want to cheer for, and don't worry about it. So we'll see, but should be interesting. Like I said, we'll have to catch a game for sure this year. We caught one last year. It was amazing. Beautiful ballpark they got. We'll see. Maybe we'll go to a Cowboy game this year if they suck really bad, which could be the case. You never know. I don't have high expectations this year, but we'll see. Those could change. What are your final thoughts, sir?
As always, hang on. I never got no final thoughts, y'all. We always wing it. Of course, Texas lost, and the NCAA. Nothing new there. We all knew that.
Surprised?
I'm surprised they made it out of the first round. Let's be honest. I'm surprised they actually made it in there. But no, on the real, give our stuff a try if you hadn't already, because you never know. You just may get hooked on Big Taste, Big Flavor, Big Salinas. You can check us out anywhere you get your podcast. Make sure you're following us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, all those little social media sites. And then, of course, check out the small business that I shouted out this week, Still There Shine Sauce.com. He's got some amazing, delicious, good sauces. Like I said, he's got a blackberry sauce. It's Still There Shine Sauce. And if you're wanting to up your competition game, definitely get you some Holy Smoke stuff. Some Ant, hit up Adam or Michelle. And if you want some killer injections, Texas Oil Dust has got some. That's what I use in my injections. With the pork and brisket chicken, I got my own brand that I am working on, so stay tuned.
Right, yeah, for sure. Definitely check those guys out at AMP. They do great stuff. For sure, in all the roads. Like I said, anytime you buy a rub, try it out. Try it twice. There's so many good ones out there. We love them all. We wish nothing but good thoughts and good vibes for everyone. For sure, definitely go check out my small business, Infinite Pro Renovations, if you need anything renovated to your house. Maybe, hey, they'll do whatever you need. They're up for the money. Definitely give them a shout out on Facebook and get in touch with Les Delgado, and he will take care of you for sure. And of course, anytime you're out there by the pit or you're cooking, do it with love, do it with passion. Have any questions, let us know, and we will see you down the road.
The original 5 levels are big, healthy, husky, fluffy, and damn. People ask, what could be bigger than damn?